Hey guys, it is JJ and Skye with the Raw Food Podcast. How are you, JJ?
I'm doing so good. Thank you. I appreciate you having me on every week, and I'm glad we are back this week. I know you're enjoying yourself, which is why we have this topic, right?
That's right, that's right. So, we are going to talk this week on Raw on the Road, and we are going to do this basically because I'm traveling at the moment. So, what better time to approach this, talk about tips and things to do on the road while raw? Do you travel much, JJ?
Not much. I'd like to travel more. Usually travel about maybe 4 or 5 times a year because my family lives about 3 hours away in Baltimore, which is I'm in Ocean City, Maryland. So it's not traveling across country, but it is a little bit of a situation always when you travel and you're raw because it's a little bit different. So I that's about the extent of it. Some years I travel more depending on what's going on or my work schedule, but so that's about it.
Good. Well, look, I feel like doing raw on the road is always a learning experience. I've been so far, I first traveled raw to Cairns, which is 3 hours away. When I had been raw for about a year, and it was such a huge deal. I remember being on the plane, I remember preparing for it. It was all consuming, but I loved being raw and I loved my health. The more I travel, the better I get at doing it. But what I've really noticed about traveling with raw foods is I seem to have to establish myself in confidence and with some little set patterns before I feel confident to go on like any tours or walks, or like I need some basics to make me feel like me. And those are so I like to pre look where I'm going. I like to see, if there's where the closest supermarket is. Do I need to bring food? Will I bring a blender? Will I bring a juicer? What is my routine like at the moment? That's important. The other thing is once get to the destination, I will run. I find like running is something I can do everywhere and it helps relieve my anxiety as well. So I find out where food is. I do running and grounding, which so you've got nature, you've got exercise, and where my closest is. Wherever I am, I always establish that pattern, and that seems to make me feel confident to say, if somebody's going out for dinner and I have to go somewhere and have a small salad, I'm okay because I've got food back at the apartment. Or if people are doing activities like maybe going to a bar during the afternoon, I will go for a run. Like there's some
Hmm.
basics that I like to have in place no matter where I am in the world, that just make me feel confident. But also, before you talk, I wanted to just say I did like it's a growth process. Like when I first traveled, it seemed all consuming, but it does get easier. It wasn't hard. It
Right.
was just, it's like starting kindergarten, right? It's exciting, but it's all new.
Yeah, and it's that little it's like an excitement, and then also because if a lot of people are new to this, it's a fear of can I trust myself to not give in to the pressures that are around me. And I agree with you. I feel like we go through this curve where in the beginning we're really good with it, we're really strict with it, and then in after we've been raw for a while, we're good with it. But we go through this phase, I feel like in the middle where it might get muddy. A lot of people that I hear from anyway, where it's like they're a little bit more relaxed on their diet. So they're trying to, trying out different things, thinking, is this for me? And, maybe I should be more like them. Like in the beginning, we're like, especially if you find out about this through a podcast and you're so excited or something, you're really like into it. You're always prepared. But I feel like I've come back around to that, but in a more relaxed way. Like I try to look at it as it's something fun, like I really love raw food. And I find that the more I guess, let other people around me see that, the easier it is when traveling, whether it's at a restaurant or a stop, somewhere where you're trying to get modification or at home around family, which was the last time I traveled. We went to my stepdad's. I think I mentioned this that week when I came back. His 70th birthday party, which was really cool. But I also knew there wasn't going to be a big raw vegan spread there, right? It was going to
Yeah.
be. standard American. So I remember what we did was we kind of brought a lot of things along. I love bringing fruit to travel with, like all my favorites, like grapes, are really easy on the run. I think we even had some cut up, maybe cantaloupe or something that I love. So we brought some things along for the ride. But also, another thing we did was we stopped along the way because I didn't think we were going to have enough, and we needed like salad materials for that evening so that I would have something there to make for me. And what I did was also stopped at a fruit stand along the way, which kind of like, people are stopping. Sometimes people will stop and get a drink or something. We were like fruit
Yeah.
stand hopping. So we were driving, not traveling on an airplane, which made it a little bit easier to veer off. And then we went to the store. We went and checked in with everybody, and then as they were preparing their plates and everything, I actually went and got food. And then when I came back, I just kind of hung out with everybody. And then at the end of the night, when I usually eat, everybody was winding down somewhere in the pool. I just went and made me and Dawn like a big salad, and we literally sat there and just ate our salads while everybody else was eating dessert. And then it was a little bit of a fiasco. I didn't bring my blender, so I had to have like one of my little sisters get up on top of the like the kitchen and find the blender for me. So that
Oh,
made me stand out a little bit. But other than that, I tried to just let it fit in and show people the excitement of raw food. And it was funny because there was a little girl there, a friend of my sister's daughter, and she was like, cucumber, like she wanted to have the food. And like her mom at one point was like, no, you have to eat your crackers and stuff. I'm like, no, 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 I don't care, like let her have all the cucumber. I love that she's wanting cucumber instead of other stuff. Maybe she'll be a raw vegan when she grows up, who knows.
I love that. My nieces are like that as well. Um, yeah, like they love when I'm around raw foods. And I think because mine's always fresh from the farmers markets and chopped up nicely, and they really enjoy that. But look, I believe that every holiday I've gone on where I am eating raw foods, I feel so much better. I get so much more out of my holiday. There's no crash times. Like it's worth investing in yourself. Just finding a supermarket, bringing, having the salad in your room, or finding a raw restaurant or a plant-based restaurant is that's the payoff, right? Is you feel so good. You're walking around, you love what you're doing, you're so present. Like there's a reason that I love doing all of that. And I want to say, hey, Creative Heart, and
Hi. Uh,
and yeah, I was going to say there's a question here, but I want to feed off this actually to do with traveling. So, did either of you ever feel low energy or slow digestion on raw? I'm experiencing that currently. Any tips? Now, I can get into that, but I will say when you travel on a plane, whether you're raw or not, just because you're so ungrounded, there's so much radiation on the plane, you're literally still in altitude for a long period of time. My digestion and most people's literally stops like during that time. Was really, really slows down. As for uh, just in general with low energy or slow digestion on raw, I hear this a lot off the back of a juice cleanse or when people have eaten really light foods. And it may not be so much that it's the raw food in general that is causing it, but a contrast. So you're used to being, if you're eating having just juice or you're having just fruits for a period and then you try something denser, like if you went from that to say Brooke Goldner's protocol, or you're having more salads and greens and fats, is the contrast of how efficiently your body is running. It's now not running that efficiently. It's running at a much slower pace, and that can affect people. The other thing I noticed after doing a juice cleanse is I think the body just doesn't need as much food as I thought it did. And I kept trying to put lots in, and my body doesn't want a lot. So, as for tips, it depends on the person. It's about getting that gut health back, probiotics, enzyme, not eating as much. You like trying that depends like where you are on your health journey. Magnesium at night as well, and of course movement. And I'm saying this in a general way of a healthy diet.
I love it. The movement has really helped me with a lot. over times where I might have thought it was related to food. If I'm not moving or exercising as much, that really
Yeah.
helps my digestion and whatever we call it to be politically correct, elimination. um, I was gonna say, that's so why I love the way that you're sharing everything. I just saw the video pop up. I only saw the first, maybe a couple of minutes of it because I had to get ready to come on here, but I saw where you posted about New York and how to stay raw in New York. And that's so exciting that you're traveling. I want to, was one thing I want to say before, and I would love to get into asking you some questions about how your trip is going and what you've ate and everything.
Sure.
But I wanted to say something about the standard. Remember the one we did on our standards where there's a certain standard that you have to meet, but don't let it get so stressful. Like for me, my standard is I don't eat meat or dairy. I won't touch that because I know that was a big part of my healing, and I stay mostly raw. But for me, in some ways, if you're at a place where you're trying to only eat whole food and the only restaurant they have is a raw food gourmet and your family agrees to go there, you know what I mean? Like, let your routine breathe a little bit while you're
Yeah.
traveling. Maybe you always have a green juice and this place only has a different kind of smoothie, just so you can enjoy yourself. Go ahead and allow yourself. Don't make it a stressful travel. If you eat high raw, maybe you're having a whole food plant-based meal that you're something that is around that your family has, instead of being like, I would just say, like, for me, I've learned not to stress myself out about my diet because it's supposed to be fun and exciting. And that's why I think after time we stay prepared, and like you said, you call ahead, you see what's in the area. And for me, I just drive everywhere. I've never been on a plane in a long time, just since I've been raw, that I mean. So I haven't had to deal with that, but usually I'll just bring things along in the car because everywhere we've went, even long distances, little mini vacations, we've been able to drive, which made it easier to put a big cooler in. But I'm really interested in how you navigated this, and you look like you are just having a ball. I love seeing the pictures of you guys, and like, you're excited about what raw foods you're finding there, which I love because it's not really, it's something we have to navigate, but it's not something to look at as a negative. If you can look at these videos that you have with your green juice, so you're just looking like loving life. So I love that you're sharing that part of the experience with new beginners too, especially.
And I think what people have to understand about um, the traveling to New York with me, like myself and what Jillian and I do in New York is we only got that far because of what we do every day. Like you have to understand it's the routine that I did every day in my life that got me well. It's not like I'm any different to anybody else. Like I am so aware that I got to connect with beautiful people like yourself, JJ, online because I look after myself. And so that's really important that even being on the trip is all part and parcel. Like I've traveled with Jillian before, and it definitely, we're much closer now and we're much better at being raw now, but you can't just magically have that happen. You have to understand that it's like I'm very aware every day when I run, when I eat raw foods, when I juice, that my future is amazing. Like I already know it's amazing. I don't know what it is, but it's amazing because I'm looking after myself. And when you harness that principle, you get better at traveling um, all the time. And I don't think I'd be as good at traveling now if I hadn't done the pre-trips. Like, you got to do kindergarten and year one and year, I don't know
Hmm.
what you guys call it, 2 and 3 to get into high school where it feels like, you're an old hand at doing the raw thing. That's just
Yeah.
the analogy. But I couldn't be doing it like I do now, like where I've literally got a camera and I've got um, I'm vlogging what I'm doing. I'm constantly filming and editing. It's all like that learning process. But unless you start and do it, if you face it and say, and another thing is if you walk into like a restaurant, I'm the sort of person who goes, okay, lettuce, there's some salt, there's some lemon, I've got an avocado in my bag. I don't see all the things I can't have. I never say I can't have that, I can't have this. I
Yeah.
continually hyper focus my entire life on all the amazing things I can have. And that essentially brings it more and more into to existence for me.
And I bet also you could throw all those things together into a recipe, just like you already told us before in another podcast how quick you can make, like if they're having nachos or something, you could probably throw all the ingredients in and make your own type nacho dish, right?
Yeah, and but it's all I think now, and I bring this up a lot, is like I think people who just stumble across my page and they see this flow going on, that it's just you got lucky, with all of this, but it's really is that the way that I travel is just based on exactly what I do somewhere else, at home, at the local restaurant, and all those little like learning curves all come together to be well, I feel like I travel really well in New York, like really well because of all the trips I'd done previously. And a
Mhm.
lot of my trip is not so focused on doing what other people do. So a lot of people I think travel and they get there and they want to do 100 things. They want to experience restaurants, they want to experience rides, they want to experience this and that. I literally perfect what I'm doing. So what I already do is, as I said, I find food because I won't feel good without that. I need to have movement. I need to
Mhm.
ground. And then once I establish that, is anything I choose to do out of that little hub seems to just flow. Without my little security hub, it doesn't go very well. But I did some pretty long videos which are coming out of like the entire day. One of them was so exhausted. I was like filmed me getting up coaching at like 6 in the morning and I think going to bed at like
Oh
late
my
at night. So it's like this
I saw,
full
like, you
day.
messaged me one a night, and I'm like I looked in the morning, like, she was still up, and then I see her up popping on, early, probably doing things, so but that's part of the lifestyle, right? Like, if we once in a while, obviously, sleep is really important, but we can make it usually on less with the same energy because of the foods you're eating. I was gonna say really quick, too, about stress, you mentioned that before. Your movement, your it's not something we do out of having to do it. It's something we do to like because we want to feel good like that. The foods we eat, and so also when you're traveling, there's a little bit of extra stress because you're out of your regular routine. Even though it's fun, you might have an itinerary or, like you staying active. And it must be so cool traveling with Jillian, right? It just sounds like it should be a show in itself called Traveling with Jillian. But I just think that that helps so much mentally to stay in my, normal routine, but also be in a really cool place or be visiting family. Because if not, then if something is stressful, you're not eating the way you normally do. That could add to it. If you're not moving, you might, especially if you deal, with coming from a background of being, ill and then being well, those things are so important.
Yeah. Look, the reason I can travel, right, is because I look after myself and I do the choices and make the choices I do on a holiday. And I think what is so scary for people is you are going to be different. But maybe the universe and maybe your soul wanted you to be different on this journey through this, this planet at this time. And that's not necessarily a bad thing at all. It's just different. Different definitely doesn't have to be bad.
I look at it as a rebel, like, like we're meant to lead, we're meant
Well,
to
yeah,
inspire
that's what I
change, right?
think.
You can look at it two ways, or you can really literally in the same breath, if you want to keep a negative type perspective of it, you can say, oh, I'm different than everybody. I have to do things different.
Yeah.
But like for me, I'm like, I get to do this. I get this blessing that I was blessed with to know this. Like blueprint to health, and I'm able to navigate it and I'm confident with it. That's one of the things I think we grow with over time because, if we're not sure of what we're doing, it really it doesn't allow me to make the right decisions, or it
Mm.
might be swayed with what other people are doing. It really has nothing to do with me what they're eating. It is what's going in my body, and I'm the one that will choose to be healthy and feel good mentally about my decisions. And it's really hard in the beginning to do that, but I do find I've gotten to a really good place, and I think I can see your
Mm.
confidence in you.
Thank you. I love hearing that. Yeah, it is, but it's like I just think the biggest thing is rinse and repeat. Like what I do on a holiday, I did back home, I did on other holidays. And I like this question here about uh, how long did it take you to be able to travel long distance? And the first time I actually went on a trip was back when I had been raw for 5 to 6 months. And I went 3 days camping with a friend. And back then, I think, and remember, when you're healing, you still have anxiety. So it's not like I hadn't really lived much either. So this trip, I remember on the way out, and it was a camping ground which worked well, but I mean, you have to make your own food anyway, but they're doing like barbecues and I think pasta salads and stuff. And I remember stopping at a supermarket. I already planned out there was a supermarket on the way in. I was only eating all fresh at the time too, so I had to bring an ice, like a esky, a cooler, I think you call it,
Mhm.
that had I just got mangoes and salad ingredients and fruit. And it actually kind of, when I think back, it's a lot easier because you just rinse it. But there's a lot of pre-thinking. You're always pre-thinking. Now it's so natural. And plus I don't need to eat all the time now. Like I could go half a day, not have food and not feel like I'm gonna like pass out. Um, but so I traveled like camping, and then I think it was not for another year until I traveled to Cairns. But as I said, it was such a huge, and that's only 3 hours away in Australia, such a huge thing. But I just do what I do here. If I'm going to restaurants, if I decide to go to a restaurant, I ring ahead. Even though they have salads on the menu, I let them know that I'm coming in and I'm high allergy, and that I can you make a big salad? I want to anything you can do to make yourself feel confident.
Mhm.
Like making yourself feel confident is key. Like what makes you feel confident around your area? Because you just take all those confident things and just move them into the place you're going. As I said, I think you need to establish those things before you start doing tours. Like I think that's where people might get stuck. They might be going somewhere for 10 days and they're like booked back to back to back to back to back. I need downtime. I need set time to set up my routine and my little hub, and then from there I can do probably not as much as other people. And I know my mum would think that that's because I just burn out quicker. But you do when you're in a world where you're so different. Like
Mhm.
you have, and that's not a bad thing. And I love my downtime. I don't feel like I'm missing out if I say I'm not going to dinner tonight or I'm taking the afternoon to rest. That's just more me time.
Mhm.
It's not necessarily bad. So it's being raw is about being raw, being totally honest with yourself about what you can do, what you're capable of doing, and that you're not able to kind of push through tours or whatever with a coffee or with stimulating food. Like you've got to sit there and you may feel miserable so much so that you go and eat something bad. For me, that's not an option. So I
Mhm.
wouldn't do the tour. So when I recommend to somebody making a decision, is you've got to feel excited and confident, not overwhelmed, and a lot of the planning as well.
Yeah, I think, that I remember the first time I traveled after, um, it was Easter, and then there was Christmas that year, but by Christmas, it was like I started this in April 2019, so it was just before we celebrate that, and I remember being there, and I same thing, like how you talk about there's things that you do to prepare. I had a big bag of all my salad ingredients and what the foods that I ate, so I didn't have to worry or inconvenience anyone, even though my mom kept asking, what can I get for you, what can I get for you, and I didn't, and now it's a little bit different. She kind of knows a little bit about what I eat, so she'll pick up some things that me and Dawn can eat, but like I remember just being prepared and bringing it and sitting at the table with everyone else eating what they were eating, and I have this big salad in front of me. Like you said, it was almost humorous. I remember taking a picture because I was on Facebook then and saying, I'm still having my salad. I'm still, and it was actually like fun because I love eating the same thing every day. And since then I've had periods where I've went through in this, like I've told you, where I'll go in and out of, I might have a whole food plant-based holiday meal. But more recently, since like 2023, I've really wanted to stay with the raw foods because it's just my digestion, how I feel, my energy level. I'm almost able to be more connected and better for everyone uh, in the visit. I almost enjoy it, even though
Mm,
it's a little different for me. It's okay because we're all different, right?
that's
Hey,
right.
Marquita and Don. I wanted to say hi. Oh, and Hulk,
And Rocky as
Rocky.
well. So
Did I
there's not
say someone name? Oh,
yeah,
Rocky. That's who it was.
yeah,
My camera's in front of it. Thanks for joining us. I'm so appreciative.
yeah. So I think I think people who go on this lifestyle are actually destined to be different, like were talking about earlier, and that it will feel more different at the start, but the difference you get is you don't have to face a lot of the illnesses that other people eating those foods have. And that's what you want. And look, as I talk about this first Cairns trip I did, it was a 3 hour trip, and I literally used to get up even before going to. I remember going on outings. I was a disability support worker, and some outings were all day long. I would get up 2 hours early. Like after doing it for 2 years, that wouldn't happen. But 2 hours early to prepare, pack, make dressings, put everything in little boxes. And it was a bit like that when I first traveled, is there was a lot of prep work. I wanted excessive amounts of food for this trip in case I wanted anything.
Yeah.
Now, not so much. I could find an apple in a service station and survive an afternoon. But so it's really truthfully about knowing where you're at and what you are capable of doing, because I do think traveling is not for everyone when they first start. I think you're better off establishing, like, I feel like people have to make the decision to want to heal. And part of that healing is creating a new you and a new routine. And when you're only just getting your training wheels on, it's like throwing you in the deep end, right? Where you're trying to do this brand new routine with all this new stimulation. And if you do that, you're like, I'm not going to do raw vegan because I can't travel with it. Well, you can. It's just you have to learn to do it where you're at least comfortable. And to
Mhm.
be honest, I would say like long, I mean, everybody's different. I mean, I think for me, like the 5 to 6 months, it's like this whole package. You get to travel the world and enjoy your health because you probably took some more time to yourself. So I don't want to tell people not to travel, but like it's you don't want it to be a drag either. I was very lucky when I traveled to Cairns, so that first trip a year in, where my family is very supportive. They wanted to include me. They understood if I didn't come everywhere I went, I had lots of chopped up fruit. But while they're getting up in the morning and relaxing with coffee, I was getting up and blending two dressings. I was chopping up all fruit. I'd been to the shops and backlugging all my things. And they always say, "Well, we feel so bad." And I'm like, no, I want to do this. And the food gives you a lot of energy too. But if you're somebody who's going to be like, oh no, I want to do what they're doing, like it's right in front of you, right? All of those addictions and cravings. And if you're not ready for that, that's something to think about too.
That's a really good point. Like it's building a muscle, sometimes it's a little bit uncomfortable, but when you're, building that muscle, you're learning about yourself. And if you establish a routine, and then it's easier to go off your routine and come back to it the
Yeah.
longer you've done it first. So I think that's so true. I wouldn't say that you can't do it, but if you feel like you're not ready to make that like it's not part of you yet, in a
Yeah.
sense.
I
I
think that's
agree.
really important because, as I said, a huge part of being raw is being honest with yourself. You may miss out. I never felt like I was missing out. I always know if I invest in myself and raw foods, I'm going great places. Like
Hmm.
if I continue to do that, it's just the output and the outcome is just so high vibrationally that it doesn't matter where I end up. And that's what you should remember when you choose to go somewhere. Who are you going with? And I think what's really important is when I first was healing, I didn't want to put anything in my body besides very fresh foods. But now when I travel, if the shop has almond milk, and I want some almond milk in a drink, I'm not, or I need to buy almond milk from a shop because I'm traveling, I'm not so hard on myself. You have to not feel so stressed that
Mhm.
you are miserable where you are. As you said earlier, you got to make that compromise, and each person can decide where that sits for them. When I first healed, that was not an option for me. But as I've gone along, I'm like, if that's a little bit easier, then, you know, so be it for 4 days while I enjoy this trip. But I never make it so much so that I would eat a cooked meal and feel bad.
Mhm. And I think because of the whole thing that happens with us, it's not just one thing, or it's not like a diet. It's a really overall experience for us when we're raw, right? Like our clarity, our, the way that we have energy. It definitely is something that I think you have to get to a point where you're doing it because you want to, and not like you feel like you have to. Like in the beginning, you may be doing it to heal. And like in the beginning, I did it to lose weight, but I had lost weight. I could have very well just, went on a different type of diet, but I loved this. Like it became part of really who I am. Fresh, whole, raw food are mostly what I feel like is food, with little exceptions, like sometimes I've had beans and different things like that, but I'm talking like the majority of things that go in my body, it really feels like there's no there's no exception, or there's no I'm wondering if this is the right thing for me. It's almost like, like a relationship or something, when people are like, you just know. It's like when I got into this lifestyle, it just became who I was. And sometimes I can't believe it's only been close to 7 years. Like I feel like I've been raw vegan my whole life.
That's good. That's what you want. I feel like now, what is it, 4 years in, I feel like my body is done with kind of, I think, like going lighter and lighter and lighter, and it's done with just, it wants to just be raw. Like as in whatever that looks like at any times.
I've
Um,
just seen you, even since I've started following you, to be completely honest, I have seen you evolve into this. Like, you are really teaching us and showing us how to enjoy this lifestyle. It's a lot of
oh,
just joy and laughter, and we can like see that in you. We can see the glow and see how what this lifestyle continues to do for you and your I've said it before, like, I don't think anybody that wasn't raw, forgive me if I'm wrong, would have the energy to do all of these, the service that you do for this community, honestly. All the
oh,
information, the lives, being vulnerable, sharing your experiences and what you learned. So we definitely appreciate it.
I think, oh, thank you so much for that. That was so lovely. I feel like the knowledge that I have comes from the events that I live through. And there's so much information out there that us in studies, or someone's going to say, these are the three things you need to do, or whatever it is. But you can't take away that if someone tells their true story, that people can take bits or relate to it in some way. So it's like, and I always said when I was really, really sick that the greatest thing I could do is to never let a woman go through what I went through, any person go through what I went through. And I find that is the greatest way. So I'm so glad that it helps people. And I feel so connected to the community now. Like they're such a part of my life. And I'm so grateful for that as
I
well.
love this community. It's so amazing. And, I was going to say that I think a lot of my focus here recently, the new series I'm doing, is speaking to mentioning what you said is serving those who were like you, possibly too. Like, I love speaking to women over 40 with some of my content, because I feel like that's who I was. Completely just tried every diet, didn't even know this existed. And I feel like
Yeah.
anything I can do to put it out there, and for you, serving the community of people who may be chronically ill, who think there's no other way, I just love that we're giving back in that sense, not only to the raw community, but to those who don't think they can do it. Because trust me, I didn't grow up in a community that that I even knew what a vegan was, especially a raw vegan. So if I can do it, I really do truly believe anyone can.
Yeah, I love that. Anyone can do it. Like, I mean, where I came from, and people like, can you heal this? Can you heal that? Man, if you can heal me, anyone can heal.
Right.
You've got it in
Yeah,
you to
because we've
heal.
heard your list of things, right? Like that is what is so amazing about it.
Yeah. And if anybody hasn't, I do have the workshop up on my website, which goes into like in depth of my journey, which is worth watching. I wanted
Or
to
Skye.com, right?
So yes, but it's on my the workshop is up on just on my YouTube's. I just
Okay.
posted it. It's like 2 hours. It's the full workshop I did with Jules's community. That goes through like everything I went through from like start to finish in detail with slides. Okay, so I wanted to bring up this because we are doing like traveling raw. So, what did you have at the raw vegan restaurant? Now, this is such a treat. Like when I travel to America, it seems America has raw food restaurants. We don't in Australia, not that I know of. And we had some beautiful food from Caravan of Dreams.
Oh,
I've got
I've
some
heard of
photos. I'm
that.
going to add to the screen for you guys. I pulled up.
Oh, wow.
So this pasta dish here is the zucchini pasta. It had like I think like a tomato sauce through it, but then through that it had like Brazil nuts. It had capsicum, I think might have had mushrooms. I'm not sure what else. Then on top here is a cashew cream, like a this like a type of cheese, and these are like walnut meatballs, walnut veggie
Oh,
meatballs. I think that was dried sun-dried tomatoes, olives. That was like insane. I wanted to really try that. In the background there, that is manicotti. So that's like zucchini is wrapped around some avocado. There's tomato, uh, lots of different flavors, like some crumb sort of, I guess, nuts that were through it as well. This next one is a tasting plate. So this was a lot. We had full plates of this for the entree. In the middle is sauerkraut. On the edge is some of their meatballs. Then they
mhm.
made like coconut sprouted breads or crackers, which you can see there with the avocado. I think someone might have eaten the top off that, but the other one with the tomato on it, and I think it's za'atar spice on top of that. And then the that one that's got like the white circles of sauce, and it's like a I think it's like a walnut type crumbing on top, but then it was made like ravioli was made out of pear.
Mm.
So, but the star of the show, there were so many. We tried everything on the menu. If you go to Caravan of Dreams' menu and have a look at everything raw, we tried all of it. This was my
Look at
favorite.
that.
So this burger may just look like a sandwich, a raw vegan sandwich, but it actually tasted to me exactly like a McDonald's hamburger. Now,
No way.
not that a McDonald's hamburger is something that I ever wanted to eat again, but it's the memory you get and this nostalgia. So there's like a relish on I think it was there was the bun, like sorry, the bread, not so much, but the meat, the patty you can't really see tasted like a hamburger, or the texture was like a hamburger from McDonald's, plus the mustard they nailed and the relish. And it was like lettuce. It might have been mayonnaise on it as well. It was so good. In the back was like nori rolls. I think they had
Mm.
avocado, carrot, and
I'm
what
so
else?
hungry watching this.
Sorry, and but guys, I'm sure everyone follows Jillian Berry. She filmed the whole thing, and we talk you guys through the whole thing. So I will post it and talk about it as the videos come out. But yeah.
Can
So
I
in the
ask you a question about that one? When there's raw,
yeah,
because I've never had raw recipes or gourmet in the whole time I've been raw. But if I lived closer to you, I bet I'd be knocking on your door, like,
you
"Do you
would
need a taste tester?"
Sunday nights at mine.
But that bread, is it like a cracker, or do they actually have a texture of a bread? I wondered.
So that one, every restaurant or raw chef or whoever, I think has their own way of doing things. That one there was quite light because I think a lot of it was sprouted coconut. I think there was zucchini in there, some flaxseed. It was a lighter one. A
Mhm.
lot of mine are quite dense when I personally make breads, but I find a lot of restaurants have the ability to make. I think they do a lot of I don't know, it's like sprouted coconut bread. It was quite light, which was lovely. But most of mine are quite dense when I create them.
Oh, I see the sushi rolls back there too now.
Yeah,
That's
had the
amazing.
carrot, avocado, and I think it was homemade sauerkraut.
Will you be
Uh,
recreating some of these, do you think, if you liked, some of them?
so I don't know if you guys know, definitely will. But if you notice with my recipes, is based on what I want and what everybody else wants from me, they're very, because I do a lot. Usually I do 2 or 3 ingredient recipes.
Hmm.
And then I encourage people to flavor it how they want. So I hear people write to me. So I make a 3 ingredient bread. People like, I added dates. Someone's like, I added cacao. I added onion. I did sun dried tomato. And I love that for you guys because I don't know whether everyone always has the right ingredients. And then when they don't have the right ingredients, they think they can't make it.
I
Um,
love that. Thank you
so
for
I
doing
try.
that.
That's what I try and encourage like that you put any extras you want in it. So when you create recipes to almost to a T of being cooked, Lissa's really good at doing it. So is Raw Chef Yin. You get a lot of different spices combinations, right? So you can pretty much recreate anything that's cooked raw. Now, the reason I don't do it is because I'm so sensitive. I do better and with just a couple ingredients, but that doesn't mean I won't randomly try it or thoroughly enjoy doing the raw vegan bundle when I make their recipes. But that's really why. So usually I take more inspiration from textures than I do from flavors. So this had a lot of that recipe had a lot of flavor in it, but I do a lot when I do I prefer to do like 1 or 2 ingredients, but definitely learning a lot as I go along. I probably the most influence that's taking over me at the moment is from Jillian because I'm with her, I'm eating with her a lot and doing what she does. And it's interesting no matter where or who you're with. If you're raw, you do raw differently. Like you could put daily shots of Jen and my photos up, right? Of what we eat in a day and put it next to each other. And we would eat, people that aren't raw would probably think we eat the same, but we eat quite
Right.
differently, right?
So very true. Yes. I like, we could switch one day if you want to. I'll just come eat all your food and you can eat my salad. I'm just kidding. But yeah, that's so true because I think that's why I said this before too. Hi, Koala Mama. I was thinking, somebody said once on a page or many times, I tried that and it didn't work for me. And that was such a good point that you made because I eat totally differently than you. So it's like, what did what part did you try? Like, did you try to do all fruit? Did you try to do fruit and salad? Did you try all the gourmet and just got tired of, because a lot of us, even though we eat that from time to time, except I need to find a restaurant like that. I'm sure, like you said when we talked before, a lot of your meals are really simple. You're not always having to like come up with a new recipe and create it. You may have your favorites, just like how your regular diet is. You get in a groove with being raw. And for me, it works out to be fruit and greens and salads. Like, and I might do different types of salads or different dressings, but for the most parts, that's what I eat. But like Skye eats differently, so that's why I think it's important to follow people, but follow them loosely, and also, help you or yourself, or ask us questions if maybe something's not working for you. You can rearrange it. Maybe you just need some more healthy fats, like I think both of us have found along the way. Anything like that, like if you may not be you may be steering clear of certain foods that would be okay on your plan after your healing and things. So
Yeah, look, and that what you were kindly saying before, and you were saying, you're trying, Sky, you're trying to bring like all this joy into the community. And I think what people need to understand is I only stay raw because I love it and because it's so fun and it gets me up to do my run. And when I see my nieces, I'm so happy and I'm out of bed. And if I ever had to face doing something, just say there was just 10 recipes I had to rotate between and I didn't like any of them, my misery would be just as bad as being sick. Like people don't understand. I think because there's a physical ailment in their body, um, they think, here's the answer to get rid of, but you can't sit in misery. Like you can't create a new life in misery because you'll default back to where you were and end up with another disease. So it's
yeah.
about like what is fun. Some people like as Lissa or this restaurant in the sauces is they like lots of spice. And I saw Koala Mama here is, and I love this, is my recipes inspire her to add lots of herbs and spices. And I love that. Because that's your creative, that's your fun. It's what you'll be like, you'll have the memory. And sure, maybe the base of it was based off something I did, but then you put all the flavors you love or feel like that week. There's just more value than I think we realize in finding our fun raw way.
Yes, and keep trying, like, don't, I would say don't give up on it because sometimes even throughout our journey, you may have to change the portions of certain things that you're eating, or you may end up
Mm.
switching out totally and finding like, oh, I really like having raw recipes on Sunday, and then I like eating maybe batch making something for the rest of the week. Like it's just like how you normally eat now. I think if you're new to this, it's just finding that little groove that you get in. I think most of us don't really, we say we like variety, but most of us, our days are pretty routine and we still enjoy it. It's not like, if it's something that you don't like, there's 100 different ways to do raw. So don't make it something that's miserable like you said, because you won't stay with it. I think finding a way to enjoy it, finding the right foods at where you are on your journey is so important. Like, if you see someone eating oranges and you don't like oranges, then don't eat oranges. There's so many fruits out there. Like, and remember somebody said once, like, I was eating avocado. I don't like avocado. I can never be raw. Like, there's 100 million people in the world that don't like avocado. I was one of them, though. I will say, allow
What?
yourself to retest things because when I first tried avocado many, many years ago, way before I was raw or vegan, I just didn't like I didn't understand the taste of it. And then when I started eating raw and found out, oh, they have magnesium and potassium, I started finding all these health benefits. I ate it, but I would smother it in dressing. And then all of a sudden one day, I just happened to open one while I was making my salad, starving. How I wait all day to eat. I always tell you, and I still haven't ate yet. And I go ahead and
Oh,
take a bite. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. Like, I like these. And now I can eat them like with a spoon, like raw, like I eat a cantaloupe or something. But it's so wild. My taste really like started craving raw food. Like, I'll eat almost all of my salad without any dressing and then realize, oh, I didn't put my dressing on. It's just so wild how we adapt to craving like fresh raw food. I'm sure maybe I just at that time why I didn't like an avocado is because I was eating cheeseburgers and fries and that avocado wasn't like doing it for me, like I remember getting sushi before and thinking, oh, this is just an appetizer. But now when I get like, if I get 3 or 4 avocado rolls, I'm filled. So
yeah. It just takes time, and just it's really all about finding the food. This is what I say when you first go raw, don't start focusing on the foods you don't like. As you're saying,
mm,
focus on any foods you love. So I was like a mango, avocado, chili, lime, uh, berries, grapes, watermelon, not all at once, but like they're foods that in summer, if you gave me, I really loved. So I didn't invite any foods I didn't really love in. I knew when by the time I had to commit to this lifestyle, I knew all my weaknesses. I knew because I couldn't let any of them creep in. When you're real with yourself and you're um, like the things which will set you back, you have to face it and figure out how you're either going to not have that in your life or have so much good that it doesn't affect you.
I
Yes.
totally agree. Sorry about my cat. She's
That's all right. We
saying
love
hi.
animals here.
I totally agree with the trying different things and making it work for you, and don't be afraid to switch up. What you're doing, even if you have this in your head, like this is the regimented meal plan I want to do. Your body sometimes will decide, what your meal plan is. So go with it, enjoy it. I think that's the bottom line, and make sure it's something that you're enjoying because you're definitely going to enjoy the health benefits from it, like if you stick with it long enough. I do believe that.
Yeah, that's true.
Thank goodness I came around, Rocky.
But I think Don down here says I'm not a big fan. I dislike guacamole a lot, but I like it with tomato. And I think there's even more benefits from the avocado when you have it with tomato. I don't know what it is right off the top of my head. Maybe someone can mention it below. But there's like more absorption of something. And I know I like avocado and tomatoes together. I don't trust people who don't like avocados.
I
I've
am
heard
hooked
that
on them now,
before.
though. I can't stop eating them. Like, I have to slow myself down sometimes. Like, I would just eat avocados now if I could, but I do have my whole salad with the avocado now.
Yeah,
I
I feel like I got onto raw with avocado. Every time I was like, I don't know what I'm going to eat, but I'm still hungry. I just have like half an avocado or an avocado and everything would calm down. I'm an
Same
avocado
here.
girl through and through.
Nuts have done that for me too at certain points in the beginning of my journey. Like, I even mentioned this, that I think it was like the third day it started to catch up with me. I guess, like, I was like, wait, I'm still hungry. What do I do? And so I ate cashew nuts, and I seemed to like really have filled up. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like how we talk about finding your way, like, okay, if
Yeah.
you've ate what you want to eat, and my portions got bigger and bigger because I started realizing that this type of food is less calories, even though it might look like you're eating a big portion. It's not necessarily a big portion when you look at what raw vegans tend to eat or how much calories is going to fill you up. So I love that this isn't really as restrictive as very specific diets where they've said you can have 1 cup of 1 cup of snow peas or something. I
One
can,
cup of
one
snow
cup,
peas.
like something like that. I remember being on that plan before where they were like so much you could have points or something. And it was like,
What you could have
1 cup
cup
of
of
broccoli or
oh
1 cup
my
of
god.
cauliflower. It's like, no. I I
Oh.
I could eat that like now, like in abundance, right? Until I'm full. I mean, that's like the best diet I could think of. I think that's why I stick with it because I love to like eat as much as I want.
Well, that's right. That's right. And I also think there was another comment that somebody else brought up, and it's like all raw vegans go to restaurants with an avocado in their handbag. That's I do. Like I literally, you open that handbag since I've been raw, and there's an avocado in there, or a nut mix. I'll get nuts and smash them with like a bit of salt and spice and sprinkle that on top. Or sometimes if I'm going to go all out, I'll bring both.
Bananas too is another good filling one for me in the daytime.
Oh,
I can
good.
always get a banana if I'm somewhere where there's no food to eat.
I
That's
love
wild.
that.
I wanted to say too, tell Jillian that she's been such an inspiration. So I love
I
both of you.
will. I will. I will pass that on. I'm surprised she didn't jump in. She jumped in the podcast last night. So,
Maybe it's because I didn't like avocados.
oh, I'm gonna have to pull this mic out. I'm swapping plugs here. Just bear with me.
Take your time. Let me see in the comments there. Oh, wait, what? Yeah, that's what it was. I used to always have bananas in my bag. Yeah, there's a picture of me with like bananas in each of my back pockets just as a joke, but I was walking down the boardwalk here on the way to meet family with bananas in my pocket. I mean, I really did want the bananas, but the picture was kind of a joke. Like, this is what raw vegans look like, getting ready to go travel. I love raw almonds. I could eat like 2 cups of almonds at a time. Oh, Don, yeah. I Almonds are good. Walnuts, I love cashews. I think they might be my favorite, but I think walnuts might be my second, but I never really liked walnuts that much, but now I love them. It's so amazing how things our tastes change. I mean, unless, it was in a cookie or something.
That's right. That's right. I hope you can still hear me. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, uh-huh. I can hear you.
Okay, good. No, I took the microphone out because I'm working with plugs, Australian plugs. It's just like a lot going on here. And then the plug was being taken. You call them plugs, electrical
Yes.
sockets? Yeah. And then the computer wasn't plugged in. I thought it was going to die.
Oh, I forgot about that the voltage and everything or is it different prongs on it? Like,
Yes. So we have like oh, you guys have three. It's different voltage. We're 240 volts. I don't know what you guys are. I'm pretty watts or something. I'm not sure. I'm not an
I wouldn't
electrician.
know. Me
But
either. We'll
we've got
stick with the raw foods, right? I'm
yes,
not playing with any
that's
electricity,
right. That's right. But
except
yeah,
for the
there's a lot.
electricity that comes through the fruit, right?
Yeah, walnuts, pecans. You've got to find pecan pie. Ooh, actually, you know what is tastes like pecan pie to me? So whenever I put pecans in dates, oh my god, the texture in my mouth reminds me because you know how like people like to put like a nut inside of a medjool date. it reminds me of pecan pie, but I could do a pecan pie
Oh, I
recipe
could
actually.
see
That wouldn't be
that.
difficult. Yeah, um, it'd just be a matter of doing the base. Like doing the base and then probably doing some medjool date type thing with lots of pecans to it. So, oh, you're 120 volts. Yeah, I think we're like 240 or something. And so I should have transformers. I think that's what they are for all of this. But I think you can. I don't know. I don't know. I'll be fine. Raw foods will keep me safe.
That's right.
When I start plugging things in walls. So all right, we are going to wind this up because JJ is going to go eat before she passes out. I've eaten. Jillian made a beautiful dinner, so I'm sure you
Oh,
guys will see it
nice.
soon. Or go and have a look on her story. It was beautiful.
I'm gonna go check it out. Thank you so much for having me on. I love doing these each week and coming up with a new topic. It's so much fun. Thank you.
It is,
And
and
enjoy yourself. Thank
I
you for
will.
sharing
I
some time
will.
while you were away. I was like, I
Oh, of
didn't know if we were
course.
gonna do it, but you are definitely committed. I love that I got to talk to you while you were in the US, so we don't have to think it's Tuesday today.
No, 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 no. That's right. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for all that came in the comments. I appreciate you, and thank you, Sky.